Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Garak here, your casual gaming dad, coming at you guys with the Final Fantasy XIV Patch 6.4 review. Quick disclaimer: as always with these patch review videos, these the points of view spoken of in this video is just all opinion. It's all my own personal opinion. It is by no means an attack or lashing out at anyone in the community or the developers or Yoshi P or anything. It is just how I feel about the game and the patch content. Now, as always, I'm only going to really cover like the main parts of the patch, mostly the ones that I've participated in so far, or plan on participating in. Keep in mind, I am a casual player, even more so these days than usual, and I don't do things like extremes or savages or anything, so I will not comment on those. And we're doing something a little different. Usually I have like an in-game view and I just kind of talk at you guys, but this time I've got the full patch notes up on the background right now. We'll just kind of scroll through them and touch base on certain things. Obviously I'll have a link to these in the description below, so if you have not seen them yet, you can go to them and check them out yourself. And as always, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible and keeping it quick because I don't want to rant or get too long-winded here and bore you guys out. So without further ado, excuse me, let's just get right into it. So first of all, patch 6.4, it's been a while. We've been mulling around in the 6.3 days for quite some time, but you know, in usual fashion, they got it out relatively in the same time frame that they've been pushing patches out. Now we are all aware that Yoshi P and I believe some of his dev team have been involved in the development and release of Final Fantasy XVI. And I think, unfortunately, even though he said 14 will not suffer for his involvement in 16, I think, unfortunately, this patch has. I'm gonna come straight out of the gate, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Overall, I feel like this patch 6.4, despite everything that it gave us, I gotta rank it like a 6 out of 10. I don't feel like this is gonna pull me back into the game after such a long time of just checking in, making sure my house doesn't expire, doing a little bit of PvP to get my Series XP rewards, and then that's it. Like, usually these major patches pull me into the game, and unfortunately 6.4 really hasn't, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of it has to come with my disappointment in the story. So as you can see, the first thing we're going to touch on here is, of course, the first thing that they list in the patch notes, and that is, of course, new main scenario quests. So every major patch, we always get new MSQs. Sometimes they give us a little taste in the 0.5 patches, but it's mostly reserved for the big boys. And I gotta say, you know, I think in the last patch in 6.3, I kind of was like teetering on this edge. And I was kind of praising the story so far and saying, like, you know, the story's been okay, and I feel like they're coming up to the climax, and it's probably going to be a banger if they go a certain direction, right? I think I remembered specifying that if they go one direction, it's going to be great, but if they go in the other direction, it's just going to be business as usual and the same fucking shit we've seen time and time and time again, over and over and over and over and over. And unfortunately, they went that path with this. I gotta say, I'm not gonna spoil anything for you guys, I'm not gonna ruin anything, but for me personally, the MSQ, the story as it stands right now, with the series of quests, and I understand, I kind of went through them real quick. I speed read the dialogue, I kind of half listened to the cutscenes, but even so, I gotta rate the story, the MSQ as it stands in this patch right now, a 5 out of 10. It's getting a half C's here, guys. It's just I was very disappointed with how they ended it. I'm very disappointed. And now they did throw a bit of a curveball at me, and they hit me with the fact that this is not the climax of the expansion. In fact, with the next major patch, which is probably going to be 6.5, that is probably where they're going to hit us with the climax and really start getting the next expansion set up for. But you know, this was like the prelude to that, like leading up to all of it, and unfortunately, man, it's just they went exactly the direction I didn't want them to go. You know what I mean? The typical villains are always 10 steps ahead of us, as always. We encounter Big Bad. We beat Big Bad, but we don't beat Big Bad. And then there's another Big Bad. And the plan is, and now the world's even more danger. And of course, we, as the Warrior of Light, the most powerful friggin' adventurer, most powerful fighter in Eorzea, we just stand there with a dumb look on our fucking face, like, duh. And then we fucking run away for the sake of plot. And I'm just getting really tired of that shit. Like, every single game, every story, every movie I watch, every anime, every book I read, it's the same shit. The same thing for the past like 10 plus years. And I could rant about this forever, but I'm just gonna say, guys, I'm not attacking the writers or anything, but I'm getting real fucking tired of the whole we start out powerless, we get to this position of power, but still somehow, some way, the villains are always 10 steps ahead, and when we finally get them, it's not really the end, because now there's an even bigger bad out there somewhere that they were just hiding the whole time. And it's just like, ugh, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it, man. So 5 out of 10, man. 5 out of 10. Not happy. I'm not into the story. In fact, I could have completely skipped the entire story and probably not have missed it. That's how disappointed I was in the MSQ for this patch, guys. I'm sorry. That's just the cold hard truth. But you can see quite a few quests leading up through it. There is a new story quest for the new raid. Of course, they have released the final tier of the current raid for this expansion. Savage is not released yet. I think that's getting released on Tuesday. Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's getting released in the next upcoming Tuesday. They'll have Savage released, and I mean, I really honestly haven't been paying any attention to the story for the raids. I usually don't. I've always been bored by them because I was spoiled by Coils of Bahamut, and that was just so good that nothing has compared to it so far for me, just straight out. So kind of skipped over the story for it, so I can't really comment, but I will say that the raid's pretty good, but I'll touch on that in a hot minute when I actually cover what's been added in. Other things that I haven't really touched, there are some new side stories. Obviously, Tataru's Grand Endeavor is continuing on. I haven't even started that, so there you go. A couple other things down here. Symbols for grand companies, changes to treasure hunts, nothing too crazy. There have been some changes to the housing lottery, and that it displays a message when confirming the result of a housing lottery. Following additions made to message books. So if someone leaves a message, you'll get to see their homeworld. Unique mark is now displayed on messages written by players in the same FC as you, so just small things. Obviously, there's new furnishings. Some of them look pretty cool, not gonna lie. Some of these things look pretty awesome. More new furnishings. New orchestrons, new aquarium fish, usual stuff they give us for housing in major patches. Some new cards for Triple Triad. And a lot of changes to Island Sanctuary. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't touched my Island Sanctuary since I got it to whatever the max level the max rank it could get to back after its initial release, and I got my motorcycle mount. Ever since then, I haven't really touched the Island Sanctuary, but as you can see, this is actually the second time they're raising the max sanctuary rank, so now it looks like that the max rank is 16. They've added in a ton of new stuff, items, things to gather, things to plant, animals to capture, obviously new gatherables, new construction plots, and facilities. Excuse me, this feels like something's caught in my throat. Yeah, they've got all kinds of new stuff here. They also, where is it? Furnishing Glamours feature has been implemented. So the Furnishing Glamours feature, so apparently now you can put furnishings down on your island, which is pretty cool. And then apparently now it looks like you can glamour them up to look like other things. That's pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, you can throw some stuff down, make it kind of like housing, but not housing. So that's something the community has been asking for since Island Sanctuary was announced. So that's pretty cool. I'm down with that. I might have to explore that at some point. New hairstyles, don't really care. Changes to Wondrous Tales, some new items, mounts, emotes. Alright, so battle system. So I'm not gonna go through all of the changes here because there's a lot to unpack as far as the tanks go. This will probably be its own separate system, its own separate video, man. But needless to say, 3 out of the 4 tanks got some pretty good buffs. That's Paladin, Warrior, and Gunbreaker. And everyone else kind of got just range adjustments, a couple of potencies here and there, but nothing too crazy. Scholars had Celine removed, so see you later, Celine. Have a nice day. But they can now apply glamours to their fairy. Some other stuff I'm gonna skip over. Okay, here we go. Meat and potatoes here. New content, new goodies added. Here's the good stuff, right? Okay, so there's a new dungeon. Like, they always give us a new dungeon with a new major patch, and I gotta say, this dungeon, though, you know, it's a dungeon. It's basic. You pull 2 packs of mobs, AoE them down. Pull another 2 packs of mobs, AoE them down. You fight a boss. Rinse and repeat until you get to the final boss. The first of all, I gotta say, Aetherfront is probably the most beautiful dungeon visually that we have seen since, I don't even know. I can't even think of one off the top of my head to compare it to. Like, my journey through the Aetherfont was phenomenal. It was the first time in a very, very long time that I felt inclined to just stop and stare at the scenery. It was that awesome. Also, one of the mobs that you encounter, like, right out the gate in this frosty area here, so cool looking. I would love to have it as a mount, just saying. And then there's the bosses. So the bosses are more or less basic. I mean, pretty much simple twists on mechanics we've already seen. But I gotta say, the first boss was creepy as fuck looking. And then the second boss, I know I said no spoilers, but I'm gonna spoil the second boss for you guys, is a freaking lightning bear. It's fucking cool as shit. Like, I had a blast running this dungeon. I would never be sad about running this dungeon, like, all the time. It's very fun. It does drop gear. I forget what the item level for the gear is, but it's not too high. I haven't actually seen any notable pieces of it, but we can probably look that up at some point. New trial has been added, the Voidcast Dais. Obviously, the picture gives away who the hell it is we're fighting. Obviously, we fight Golbaz. This happens at the end of the MSQ, and it's actually a pretty good fight. I'm not gonna lie, it was a fun fight. I only did it on normal. Obviously, there is an extreme version available, but you know, I don't really do extremes. And it was a fun fight. It wasn't too hard. I think we had one wipe, you know, just pugging it through the duty finder on day one. We had one wipe, and then we got it. It was pretty fun. Visually, it was good. Mechanically, it was very fun. Nothing too over the top. Just the right amount of difficulty. Like, it wasn't a snooze fest, but it was like, oh, okay, yeah, like, this is good. So I can only imagine that the extreme version has got to be a blast to do if you're into that, you know, hard rating stuff. Let's see. Containment Bay Z129. So this is the new Unreal trial that was introduced. They just brought Zervin. They've just kind of been cycling through all of the Heavensward trial stuff. I think last patch was Sophia, so now they've moved on to Zervin. Don't really have much to say about that. I probably won't do it. That's really all I got. Alright, and then obviously I already mentioned there is a new raid, and of course it is the final iteration of the Pandemonium raid for Endwalker, which will have its Savage version. I think it says Pandemonium Savage will not be accessible until Tuesday, May 30th at 3 p.m. PDT. So there you have it. Next week, right? Yep, next Tuesday, Savage comes out. So right now we just have normal mode. I literally, as of tonight, just cleared all 4 of them, and I gotta say, it was very fun. Very fun. Visually, it was very visually stimulating. The music was good, and mechanically, at least in the normal versions, mechanically, every fight was very fun. The second fight was kind of, you know, out of every 4 floors, I guess you could say, to each raid since Heavensward, there's always been at least one boss I don't like, and this time around it's the second boss for me for this tier of the raid. Like I think the fight was fun, but out of the 4, it was my least favorite. The first, third, and final boss obviously were phenomenal. They were a blast. You know, definitely like fun, engaging mechanics that keep you on your toes. The third boss has a few moments where there's overlapping mechanics, even in normal mode, that gets a little hairy. I was like, oh shit. I thought we were gonna wipe for a minute, but it is fun. So I can only imagine that the Savage variations of these fights are gonna be an absolute blast. So for those of you who do Savage rating, get ready, because it's gonna be, you guys are gonna be in for the time of your life. I gotta say, like, overall, like, as far as the dungeons, the trial, and the new raids go, I gotta give that content a 9 out of 10. Like, I enjoyed it. Is it enough to hook me back in? No, but I definitely absolutely enjoyed it. Like, visually, mechanically, all of it was very good. This is them explaining in the patch notes the new loot system for Savage rating. I'm not going to go over that right now. You guys can check it out for yourselves. There was one other thing. Obviously, we get a new form of Tombstone that gets capped at 450 every week. This is par for the course every major patch. Let me see. Just going on some duty changes, rewards and stuff. Skip over all that junk. Let's see. I want to say yes, there are some PvP changes. Certain actions are getting adjusted. Now, again, I'm not going to go in depth and touch on each and every single one of these. That's probably going to be more of its own separate video. But I gotta say one thing: monks get a little bit of the nerf, whereas dragoons get a little bit of that buff. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know why, but okay. Okay. Different adjustments and replacements of abilities. Again, I could go over that in a separate video. They have ended Series 3 and begun Series 4. So for those of you who are still a little bit confused about what the difference between a season and a series is, so a season for PvP in Final Fantasy, a season is for ranked PvP only. So if you do Crystalline Conflict ranked, or I think Rival Wings can be done ranked as well now, if you participate in those, you will get a seasonal rank. And if you are in the top ranking for that season, when it ends, you get a special gift with portrait frames and titles and stuff. And I think they said they're working on other unique rewards for people who come in the top for seasons, because right now all you guys get are like portrait kits. And I think it would be cool for those players to get like a special title or a mount or something. The series rewards is when you open up your PvP profile, you have series XP, and when you click on that button, you have a reward track. Every time you go up a series level, you get a different reward, and I think it's like every 10 level, or maybe it's every 5 levels, you get like a special reward, like an emote or a minion or another like framers kit, something that like, generic. And then at level 25 you get like that series rotations ultimate reward, so to speak. So it seems like this time it's a mount. You can see the mount right here. Last series was an armor glamour. I don't really go for the mounts personally myself, so I don't know if I'll participate in this series. But for armor glamours, I definitely do. It's something that everybody can earn, and you have from one major patch to the next to earn it. So you got plenty of time. So there's no rush on it. There have been some adjustments and minor changes to Crystalline Conflict as well as Frontlines. I'm not going to go over those right now because there's a ton of them. The last thing I really want to touch on is the gear. So they've obviously added in a bunch of new gear. You can see it here. This is the raiding gear. This is what you will get from the current raid tier. You can see the new tombstone weapons in these photos here. I can go over that in a minute. And this is the new set of crafting gear that is available. They don't show the actual tombstone armor though, which is a little strange. But yeah, I won't go over the itemization of each item right now, just because I haven't actually really researched deep into like what's going to be best and which pieces are better. I can probably cover that in a different video, but let me just say, rating on the style choices, okay? And now this is my own personal opinion, guys. Remember, the raid gear, okay? This is what it looks like. I'm not gonna lie, this pretty much reminds me of the same gear that we can get from the current Alliance raid, right? Where we fight Halone and Nafika, right? It just looks like a different variation of that gear. Is it nice? It kind of is, but it's not my favorite, like, at all. And I think the weapons displayed here are the raid weapons. Again, not a fan. Like, sometimes you look at a picture and you're like, oh, well, maybe in game it looks different. Nah. Even previewing it all in game, it doesn't tickle my fancy. Not a fan. Don't like it. Now these weapons here, the new tombstone weapons that you can get, these are all the winners for each class, each job from the most recent weapon design contest. And then they also did a Reaper and Sage version, which you can see the Reaper weapon here, and the Sage weapon is right here. So the winners of those contests got their weapons put in the game. That's fucking cool. I mean, come on, we get a buzzsaw pizza cutter as a warrior. That's freaking awesome. And the monk weapon just looks so good. Like, all of these look phenomenal. And big congrats to the winners of the conquest contest and getting your weapons put in the game. That's awesome. as far as the tombstone armor goes, I previewed the fending set in game. Unfortunately, I don't have it here right now. I don't even have the game open right now. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this round's tombstone gear. Thumbs down for me, man. Not happy. And then this is the crafted gear. I don't really know what else to say about it. Again, visually, for me, not a fan. Thumbs down again. I mean, thank the gods we have the glamour system, so I don't have to display this stuff, but man, I feel like at this point, the design team has just run out of ideas. And they're just trying to make it to the end of the expansion so they can have a break and really try and start fresh for the next expansion. But I don't know, man. 5 out of 10 for all of the designs, for all of the armor. 10 out of 10 for the weapon designs, though. 10 out of 10 for the tombstone weapons. Hands down, 10 out of 10. Perfect. Phenomenal. But the armors, all the armors that we can earn now, thumbs down, man. 5 out of 10. Not a fan. Yeah, everything from this point is now just adjustments, notifications of like, oh, you know, there's new, you know, these are now available for this currency, etc., etc. They added some new mounts and barding, new minions like they always do, and just some quality of life system things. So, guys, that's gonna be my overall rundown. I'm not gonna bore you guys anymore. I've ranted enough. You know, like I said at the beginning of the video, overall, disappointed with this patch, man. Armor designs, not a fan. Story, very disappointed with the story. Dungeons were great. Trial fight was great. The raid fights were great. All the combat stuff was phenomenal. Everything else, though, not so great, man. But again, disclaimer, this has all just been my opinion, and this is all coming from the point of view of a very casual Final Fantasy player. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this video helps you guys out or just gives you some good information. As always, I'll put a link in the description below to these patch notes that I referenced. And yeah, I'm sorry this patch isn't better like I hoped it would be. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos from me, if you want to follow any of my ongoing series, whether it's related to Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, Skyrim, Valheim, any of those, hit that subscribe button for me. I will be having a ton of Diablo 4 content coming at you guys once I get back from vacation. So hit that subscribe button. You can follow me and get notifications every time I post stuff up. Just saying. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.